What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the dojo. This is Michael. So glad to have you here. And today is Wednesday, August 28th. And I thought instead of having a throwback Tuesday or a throwback Thursday, let's have a rewind Wednesday. Let's go back to the year 2005. Let's go back to a certain date, to a certain month in 2005, to a certain very at this point, very late night TV block known as Adult Swim. Let's go back to May 14th, 2005. And let's discuss, if you will, a certain show that everybody knows, that everybody remembers, that everybody to this day loves. Now, when I say everybody loves to this day, I would say that it stands right up there with Cowboy Bebop, or Trigun, or Bleach, Death Note. It stands the test of time because it was a moment that we will never forget. And we still watch it to this day. In fact, it's one of my favorite anime, and I know you guys love it too. So, what anime am I talking about? Well, let me give you a little bit of a prologue, or a spoiler, or a sneak peek, or however you want to say it. Let me give you 3 characters that you might recognize. You ready? Mugen, Jean, and Fu. Yep, if you guys recognize those 3 names, then you know which anime I'm talking about, don't you? Samurai Champloo. The thing is what am I going to talk about when it comes to Samurai Champloo? Am I going to talk about the character's Mugen? Am I going to talk about how Mugen is a vagrant, how he's basically just a wild guy who loves just getting into trouble and doesn't give a crap about anyone? Am I going to talk about Jean, who Jean is a vagrant himself, but he's also a Ronin, once belonging to a prominent dojo, and then killing his master of the dojo to surpass the master because it's what the master wanted, so that Jean could possibly inherit the dojo. But Jean didn't want it. Or am I going to share with you the story of Fu, a young girl with the dream of one day meeting her father who happens to be a samurai who smells of sunflowers? Or am I going to talk about the journey that undoubtedly all 3 of them go on, not just collectively, but respectively? Which one do you think I'm going to talk about? Well, how about if I talk about some of those things, if not most of them, but why don't I talk about what made me want to talk about Samurai Champloo today? And to be honest, it's honestly very simple of why I chose this to talk about with you guys today. There's a couple of reasons, really. One, over here at the dojo, it's kind of cloudy outside, and we could get some rain. And to be fair, I kind of like this weather. I like it because outside, at least in my opinion, it looks like a Japanese painting. It looks like a scene, at least where I am, or where we are in the dojo, it looks like something out of Samurai Champloo itself. But I also chose this anime because you know that I like to tell stories about the journey. It's not about the destination, it's always about the journey. In this series, Samurai Champloo, which honestly I wish it would have gotten a second season, but hey, we wrap everything up within the episodes that we are given within the first season. But as I've stated earlier, not just collectively, but individually, we see our characters go on a journey. Let's start with Fu, and then we'll go to Mugen and Jean. Fu is a young girl working in a tea house when we meet her. Her ultimate dream is to go on a journey. Her journey is to find her father, a samurai who smells of sunflowers. But she wants to make enough money so that she'll be able to go on this journey by herself. By some twist of fate, she manages to pick up 2 other travelers, skilled samurai in their own right. Mugen, who's a wanderer, he's a vagrant. You could almost say he's criminal-like. And then there's Jean, also a vagrant, but he's a ronin. And if you don't know, a ronin is a samurai who doesn't have a master. Now, when she meets them in the tea house, let me set the situation for you, because it's not like she goes outside the tea house and she manages to pick up these samurai along the way. No, they come to her. And as I've stated, it's a twist of fate. Also, guys, one quick side note. Please forgive my voice. I had an amazing time at the National Federation of the Blind of Arizona State Convention this past weekend. So if my voice sounds a little hoarse, I apologize. Now let's get back into the story. So, as I've stated, it's a twist of fate that these 2 samurai happen to accompany this young girl, Fu. Mugen, who simply randomly comes into the tea shop that she's working at and basically just wants some water. And he ends up saving her life when the governor's samurai are in this tea house basically causing trouble. As for Jean, he happens to end up in that same tea shop as well, but under different circumstances. See, he essentially just comes, and really we don't know what he's doing there, but we assume that he's coming there for a drink as well. Here's the thing. Mugen takes out the governor's samurai and the governor's son. Basically scalps him. Like, doesn't kill him, but like, scalps a piece of his hair off. Even manages to take out the governor's son's bodyguards. While Jean, he basically takes out the governor's bodyguards. And so, both of them now, respectively, are wanted men. But Fu, basically, she sees 2 samurai bodyguards in their own right that can accompany her on her journey to find her father. And it's revealed later of why she wants to find her father. Basically, her father walked out on her and her mother got sick and unfortunately passed away, leaving Fu on her own. And basically, Fu is angry at her father for essentially walking out and not knowing the reason why. And so essentially, you could say almost that it's a story of revenge, but it's not. She simply just wants to go find her father to basically ask, why did you leave us? And did you know that mom passed? also not realizing that her father was on the run from the feudal government at the time. Why? Because are some subtle there's some subtle history references in this show that maybe you won't pick up on. One being the fact that during this time period, Christianity was not very well received in Japan. That anyone caught practicing Catholicism or Christianity in general, you basically were killed. You were deemed as a heretic, and basically you had to practice essentially in secret. Kind of sound familiar, doesn't it? For those of you that watched Shogun, you will know this. So anyway, let's get back to it. Fu manages to go on this journey with two strangers, excuse me. But I guess I didn't make a mistake there, did I? Because at first, they start off as three perfect, complete strangers. Fu, who essentially just wants to go on this journey and manages to save these two wandering, ronin samurai from being executed. But along the journey, they learn more about each other. And so do we, as the audience. We learn that Mugen is on the run from his past. That he was once a part of a gang of pirates who ultimately betrayed him and left him for dead. And so he left and went on his own, not giving a crap about anyone or anything except himself. Then there's Jean, who, as I stated earlier, was a part of a promising dojo. However, he was its most promising student. And the master wanted to leave the dojo to Jean. The only way that he could, though, was if Jean defeated him in battle. Which Jean did. However, Jean didn't want the dojo. He wanted to go off and be his own person. And we find out also that Jean is also running from his past. He knows that there are other students on the hunt for him because they know that he killed their beloved master. What they don't know is that the master begged Jean to fight him. That the master wanted Jean to defeat him. But it doesn't make a difference. Eventually, we find out throughout the story that the government has sent assassins and has picked up on their trail and wants to bring them in for execution. They also want Fu as well because they figure that if they capture Fu, her father's daughter, that he will come out of hiding. That they will stop because he was one of the people that was inviting Christianity into Japan. And they could stop this action. There are so many interesting things in Samurai Champloo that I could talk about, that I could go on about. I could talk about the journey. I've already talked about the characters' pasts and how they met and everything like that. I can talk about how slowly and surely they go from hating each other to kind of liking each other. All the while still being strangers. And while they do find out more and more about each other, but I wouldn't call them exactly the best of friends or the best of companions. at the end of the show, when everything's all said and done, each one of them goes on their own separate adventures now. They go their own separate ways because the journey that they originally started out on is over. Now it's time for them to go their own paths. Samurai Champloo is much more about the journey and less about the destination. Yes, there are some politics and individualities thrown into play, of course, but it's all about the journey. It's all about the scenery. It's all about stopping and smelling the roses. It's all about discovering your purpose and discovering yourself. It's also just about possibly journeying with strangers that you've never met, but along the way you learn about those strangers. You may not like them at first, but maybe, just maybe, they tend to grow on you a bit. You tend to create memories. You build upon what you don't know. And maybe you start seeing the good in people a little bit more. I also love Samurai Champloo because of the music. I also love it because of the art style. I love the beautiful range of colors. Yes, even though I'm blind, I still have respect for that. The music is pretty cool too, because it puts you in a feel of we're going on a journey, but it also puts you in that mindset to stop and think, to meditate, if you will, and mostly reflect on your personal journey, where you have been, where you are now, and where you are going. So, my friends, the path is clear. Go out and find your journey. Find your destiny. And don't fear failure. Anyway, guys, that is enough out of me. Once again, I'd like to apologize for my voice. I'm a little bit hoarse. Probably shouldn't be making videos so soon, but I just felt like I had to make this one. Like I said, Samurai Champloo is one of those top anime for me. If you guys haven't seen it, and I'm sure a lot of you have, but if you haven't seen Samurai Champloo, I highly encourage you go watch it. It is on Crunchyroll. It's so good. Super, super good. I love it. Every single time I watch it, I love it. And it's got that old-fashioned samurai feel. And that's the type of anime I love. Gotta love it. In fact, I might go watch some Samurai Champloo after I get done making this video. Anyway, let me know in the comments below. Have you seen Samurai Champloo? And what are your emotions? Does it invoke emotion out of you just like it does with me? How do you feel about Samurai Champloo? How do you feel about the journey? And maybe even tell me in the comments, who's your favorite character? Is it Mugen? Is it Jean? Or is it Fu? Let me know in the comments below. See what I did there? Anyway, that's enough out of me. Please like, share, and subscribe. Share this sucker out there if you would, please. I'm at 114 subscribers. Let's see if we can get that up to 120, if you all wouldn't mind, please. So, remember, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go make it an anime day, and I will see you in the next video. Oh, and hey, by the way, little announcement. If you are possibly going to be at a convention in Arizona known as SabotenCon, SABOTEN, if you're going to be at Saboten this weekend, well, guess what? I will be there too. And I look forward to hanging out with you. If you guys want to hang out, look for me and let's talk anime. So, remember, if you're going to be at Sabaton this weekend, I will be there. Anyway, guys, that's it. Later. Hope you have an awesome day.